It was apparent right from the start that Rotary District 6040 from northern Missouri was going to be welcomed with open arms by the people of Rotary District 4355 of southern Chile. Everyone knew from the start that some new friendships would be developed.
Chilean people are very warm and kind.
People are very caring, very loving, they're open.
The 2018 Group Study Exchange team embarked on their trip from Kansas City. After 13 hours of air travel south, crossing the equator along the way, they finally arrived in Concepcion, Chile, the nation's third largest city. That's where their adventure of a lifetime would begin. The 4 team members from 6040 included team leader Rolf McCoy, a dentist from Chillicothe and member of the Chillicothe Rotary Club. Leslie Gasser, a nonprofit fundraiser from Kansas City's Club 13. Alan Van Zandt, a TV anchor and reporter from St. Joseph's Eastside Rotary. And Ernesto Marquez, a student completing his work to become a CPA and who also works in supporting Latino entrepreneurs in Kansas City.
Well, we're looking for the experience, the collective experience, knowledge that it brings to Chile and how we can interact with those same entities here in Chile and open the doors for us on global grant initiatives.
During the team's 20-day trip, the group traveled from Concepcion south, covering more than 400 miles on land. In that time, they were able to see much of the unique landscape that Chile has to offer. The GSE team hiked the trails of eastern Chile and had them brushing up against the Andes Mountains. It was a majestic view for all. They also toured lake country around the historic Valdivia, Chile. Water dictates the way of life here, with 7 rivers and the nearby Pacific Ocean. That's part of the reason the city was so important 400 years ago when it was ruled by the Spanish. Our trip has taken us even farther south down into Chile to the community of Puerto Varas, which has about 50,000 people who live here. It's located right along this lake, the Yankee Way Lake. Rising 9,000 feet from the ground behind me is the Osorno volcano, one of a chain of 5 volcanoes located here in southern Chile. It is absolutely gorgeous, there's no question about that. But what is happening now, 6,000 miles away from St. Joseph, our temperatures have cooled. We are getting farther into fall down here south of the equator. So while you're finally enjoying spring up north, it's getting colder here, highs only in the low 50s today. Now, as our temperatures continue to change and as the terrain has changed from the busy cities of the north down to the rugged south, one thing that hasn't changed one bit is the interest that the Chileans have in us Americans. For the Northwest Missourians traveling in central and southern Chile, it was a media blitz unlike anything they'd ever expected.
I'm blown away. This is a big deal. I had no idea how big a deal this really is to the Chileans.
Their goodwill trip to the South American country was covered by local media at every stop they made. It even included a live interview on Chilean television.
And we're always curious and interested to know what you think about us, what you like, what you didn't like, what would you change, what was in comparison with your culture, what about our culture.
At its heart, the GSE program is a cultural exchange. While in Chile, the team saw much of the country's art through its museums and other displays. They also got a look at some of the infrastructure of the nation, visiting electrical plants and seeing some of the latest medical technology by a trip to a hospital. Natural honey production is big business here in Chile. We are at a bee farm today. Each box contains about 5,000 bees. They make about 40 pounds of honey every 2 months. You can see they work hard at it. The group even made a visit to the school, where they met children there and dropped in on a class learning English.
I have 2 dogs and 1 cat.
But in addition to learning more about Chile, Rotary groups throughout the country got to learn a little bit more about us Americans. Part of each meeting with a Rotary group included a presentation by the GSE team to tell them a little more about us. Also included in the Rotary meetings was a lot of good food, fun, and laughter, as 2 nations got to be better friends through the work of their Rotary clubs. When you're in Chile, you eat a lot of beef, which is in large supply. Almost everywhere you turned, there was someone with a grill cooking up some meat. Along with the meat came internationally known Chilean wine and the national drink of Chile called the pisco sour, which tasted much like lemon meringue pie packed with a punch. In Chile, there's a big German influence, with settlers from Germany coming to South America as far back as 1852. One German staple the Chileans jumped on was this reporter's only uncomfortable food experience during the trip: crudo, raw ground beef spread on bread and topped with mayonnaise, onion, and other spices. To me, it had the texture of cold mush. But in a country that is 2,000 miles long and only 150 miles wide, it was full of good food, fun, and laughter as two nations got to be better friends through the work of their Rotary groups. The relationships that were built will last a lifetime. And one final lesson for the GSE team, there is a Rotary song, and it's sung often.
Dar de sí